The world's top players travel across the globe to the Crown Casino in Melbourne, Australia to play in the biggest poker event in the history of the Southern Hemisphere. At stake, over $7.5 million. FullTiltPoker.net presents the Aussie Millions. A record field of 747 players have been whittled down to just 50 survivors. And now, things get serious. Still remaining, a superstar on the rise who's left his competitors scratching their heads.
He's a bull, he's a tiger, he's all the vicious animals wrapped into one.
A poker Buddhist known for his blow-ups, trying to tame his inner demons. A total unknown from Middle America, here to make a name for himself. And a former world champion, the man who many consider to be the godfather of the Australian poker scene.
The truth is, I've made a huge impact on Australian poker. If Godfather it is, Godfather it is.
Tonight, some will survive. Yeah. Some will be sent packing.
That's sick. That's sick. That's sick.
And the journey of a future millionaire takes its next step. From the Crown Casino in Melbourne, Australia, FullTiltPoker.net presents the Aussie Millions. And we welcome you to the Crown Casino in Melbourne, Australia, home of the 2007 Aussie Millions. I'm Barry Tompkins alongside Michael Koenig. Michael, 50 players remaining, and now they're all in the money.
Huge sense of relief, but a lot of work to be done.
And there is our chip leader, Harabalos Voulgaris. He starts the day with over 1 million chips. First player over the million mark. But Voulgaris can't rest easy. He's got a Great Dane nipping at his heels. Gus Hansen and his chip stack of 562,500. That's good for third place in the chip standings.
Hansen deep stacked and dangerous.
So that's what's going on the outer tables. Meanwhile, at our feature table, that's Jimmy Fricke from Mahomet, Illinois. He's currently second in chips, 613,000. Christy Gazes, 241,000. That's just a little below the chip average. So here's where we stand at our feature table. Andrew Black and Patrick Fletcher both chasing Jimmy Fricke. The short stack is Chris Swensky. How long can he survive? Bigger question is, where is Andrew Black?
Those are his chips, and he should be sitting right there. He may be off meditating at the moment.
Black, who is a Buddhist, says that meditation is a key for him.
So is showing up on time.
Oh, here he comes.
Oh, my dad, slow, Dad. Come on, I should get the hand there.
The rule technically is the player has to be seated to receive his cards. Stay centered, Andy.
Action continues meanwhile at the table without Andy Black. That is Chris Swensky. He's an online qualifier from Cincinnati, a former law student, and he's got the goods. He'll make it 25,000, and now Fricke with an ace-queen. He raises to 100,000.
Sometimes when you have a lot of extra chips, you get a little cavalier with them.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm all in.
Swensky goes all in.
I should have folded.
Tremendous situation for Swensky. 87% chance of surviving and picking up a pot with more than $250,000 in it.
No spades, please. No spades.
Oh, this hand always gets spades.
If you want to get a tell on me, this is what I look like when I'm nervous.
To the flop. Two spades.
Oh, you're kidding me. Give me a break.
See, I'm exciting for the TV.
No way.
Or queen. Queen
So
and queen.
here we go to the turn.
Sweat. How can the queen of clubs not come on the river?
Additional odds for Fricke, any queen or spade. He got the spade.
Oh, my goodness.
So sick.
Wow, Fricke comes from way behind to deliver an early knockout.
Unbelievable.
So our online qualifier leaves with 25,000 Australian.
About 20,000 US.
I run good.
That's an understatement.
Fricke will add to his stack, and he'll climb closer to the top of the leaderboard of this no-limit Hold'em tournament. If you're new to the game of Texas Hold'em, here's how you play. Each player is dealt 2 down cards. Then players decide whether to call, raise, or fold. If 2 or more players remain, the community cards are dealt. The first 3 are called a flop, and they're followed by a round of betting. Next comes the turn card, more betting. And finally, the river card. What makes it no limit is that a player can bet all his or her chips at any time. This is called an all-in. In this case, players show their cards, and in all cases, the best 5-card hand wins and takes the pot. Well, let's check right now on our otter tables. Gus Hansen currently third in chips and looking to add to his stack against Costa Varaxis. Varaxis all in for $67,500 with ace, queen of clubs. Now look at Gus. Makes the call with a pair of tens.
We say this is a coin flip. Hansen is in the lead and a bigger lead after that flop.
5-5-6 on the flop gives Hansen 2 pair and now a king.
Any queen or ace will save Varaxis, otherwise he's going home and he's getting ready to get up. Oh, he got it! Back-to-back hands, we have seen a nasty river card. And in this case, it is salvation for Varaxis.
And Varaxis rakes in 146,000 chips.
One time, please.
Over to another table, Joe Hashem, the 2005 World Series champ. He's all in versus Paul Wasika, 2006 World Series of Poker runner-up.
And Wasika flips over his cards and says, I can't beat you, sir.
Ace-9 and ace-9. Looking for all the world like a chop. Of course, the percentages you're seeing on the screen do factor in the chances of a split pot.
These hands will tie almost all the time. But, you know, with this flop, Hashem picks up a very slight chance of winning if more hearts come.
There's a heart.
Can you do it? Do you have it in you? Come on, I want to make Paul sick.
Before the flop, we were sure these hands were going to split. Now, if another heart comes, Hashem wins.
It did! And Hashem has won.
Oh, man.
I outplayed you, mate. Come on. I outplayed you that hand.
Well, Hashem will win 170,000 in that pot. Wasika obviously does not look happy, but he took the beat pretty well, and he's still got 341,000 to play with.
Man, this river, we need to rename it El Loco.
El Loco Rio. Meanwhile, back at our feature table, we've checked around to Andrew Black here, and Black, sporting a pair of kings, raises to 26,000.
Black has had a very good Aussie Millions, already placed second in a prelim event.
Rami Tadros with an ace-king suited will re-raise to 80,000.
All in. Cool.
Instant all-in, instant call.
Kings.
But Black's is considerably better. 437,000 chips up for grabs.
So Tadros' tournament life is at stake here. To the flop, Jack 5-6. That's no help.
Pretty safe one for Andy Black. Tadros needs running diamonds, or, well, now all he can use is an ace. Otherwise, he will be eliminated from the millions.
No miracles this time, and Rami Tadros' tournament is over. And it is Andy Black who knocks him out. Tadros will take home 25,000 Australian for finishing 43rd.
One after the other. Boom, boom.
That's unbelievable.
Well, what a start to our night here at the Aussie Millions. We are now down to the final 42 and that much closer to our next Poker Millionaire. We're coming back. Welcome back to the 2007 Aussie Millions, presented by FullTiltPoker.net. Let's take a look at where we stand right now. We're down to 42 players, an average chip stack of 355,714. Vulgaris is still our chip leader, just about 880,000 chips. I'm Barry Tompkins, along with my partner Michael Koenig. And Michael, let me borrow a phrase from horse racing. We are now making the turn for home.
Well, our players can't quite smell the barn yet, but they do know they're in the money, and that lifts a huge weight from their shoulders. Everybody's going to enjoy a nice payday. This is the time of the tournament, though, where we tend to separate the thoroughbreds from the nags. Less experienced players will get a little paralyzed at this point, but guys like Gus Hansen, Patrick Antonius, Andrew Black, this is the time of the tournament where they accumulate a lot of chips for that big stretch run to the final table.
You know, for a very centered Buddhist type of dude, Andy Black is a pretty volatile player.
24.
We can see him get a lot of chips and get rid of a lot of chips.
And Jimmy Fricke with a queen deuce raises to 24,000. Now Ryan Brower, ace-4 suited, calls immediately. Fold around to Christy Gaze's pair of jacks. And she calls.
She'll get to see the flop at a discount, and moreover, nobody really knows how strong her hand is.
To the flop. Oh, quad jacks right out of the box, which she checks.
And Fricky is going to make a move on this pot. Not really a good time.
55,000 was the bet from Fricky. And Gazes, I'm sure, is all but leaping out of her chair.
She calls him perhaps a little too quickly.
A queen on the turn. And boy, is that bad for Fricky.
I think he might sense some strength from Gazes on that. Yeah, he's going to just check it back.
And an 8 of diamonds on the river now. Gazes will bet 100,000, hoping to lure Fricky in.
Surely he must suspect that call on the flop means that she has a jack, not quads.
Did you fill up on the flop or turn? That's my question.
And she has the answer, but she ain't telling.
Because you're definitely full.
And he folds it. And Christy Gazes with the quad jacks. I'm sure she'd like nothing more than just say, hey, look what I had.
She's supposed to win a free buffet for that hand.
Yeah, it's fast and furious here.
Well, we are still speeding around the table with the blinds remaining at 4,000 and 8,000 at 1,000 chip ante. Fold over to Andy Black now, and Black, of course, running in pretty good luck, and his luck continues here in Ace-King. 27,000, the bet from Black. Now Fricky, 8-5 suited. He will call on the button.
And that's the kind of play you can make in late position with a lot of extra chips.
And it's going to be Fricky and Black to the flop. And a 5 and an 8 on the flop. Fricky, we talk about Black running in luck.
But Black also has a pretty good flush draw with that king of diamonds.
He checks, and Fricky going to bet into him. 35,000 to Black, and he calls. And a jack of spades, and a quick check from Black.
Fricky's trying to decide on an amount that can look sort of like a bluff or look like a value bet. And that's 105,000, perfect size. Black folds.
You're a machine, Jimmy.
Fricky's been playing a lot of pots and playing them effectively. That's why he has such a huge chip stack.
Well, once again, let's jump over to one of the outer tables now. We'll get you back to our feature table. Joe Hashem, once again at risk, this time with one card to come against online qualifier Robert Goldfarb.
And you say poker players aren't superstitious. Joe Hashem cannot look when he's all in. Needs to avoid a queen here.
All in with an ace-king, and he does avoid it. Now he can look, and a deep sigh of relief as he doubles up to 358,000 and stays alive. Over at another table now, you're looking at the chips that belong to the defending champion here, Lee Nelson. He's placed a bet of 22,000 with the king-9 of clubs. Action folds to Gus Hansen. He will make the call with an ace-queen. And Gus Hansen, once again, comes up big.
But it's Nelson with the flush draw making the 30,000 chip bet. Gus Hansen contemplates, re-raises 77,000. Nelson's all in, and there's no way Hansen's folding here, Barry.
I call.
And he calls, and it was kind of a resignation. And look at the pot, 741,000. That is the biggest pot of this tournament. If Gus loses his hand, he'll have only 14,000 left in chips.
And if Nelson loses, he'll be out the door.
Defending champion at risk in a real showdown. It's a jack.
And that gives Nelson a few more outs. A 10 will complete a straight for him. No such luck.
And Hansen will eliminate the defending champion, Lee Nelson. He himself was in a very precarious situation, but instead, he will now be at 755,000 chips. Lee Nelson sent home. Great showing for the defending champ. Earns 27,000 in Aussie dollars for his 36th place finish. There'll be a new champion here at the Aussie Millions. Stay tuned.
My trap worked. He's only got 4 outs. This guy's going home.
Come on, 9.
Sometimes making the right move isn't enough, but there's always another hand. We play at FullTiltPoker.com.
Welcome back to the Crown Casino in Melbourne, Australia. We're down to 35 players now, and as is the tradition of the Aussie Millions, once under 36 players, there's a redraw, and play continues six-handed. Don't worry about Joe Hasham. He's not out. He's on his way to our feature table, where he'll sit opposite his good pal, Andy Black.
Well, we got a saint at the table, boys.
Well, not quite a saint, but a former world champion. As Joe takes his seat, we'll check out our tournament update. 747 players began, 35 still left. Our average chip stack now is 426,857. Haralabos Bulgaris is our chip leader, still at almost 1 million chips. At our table now, Andy Black. He's our only holdover from our previous feature table, C2. Michael Ishmael, 334,000 in chips. Emmanuel Seal next to him. They call him Curly.
Wonder why.
Patrick Fletcher, 423,000 chip count.
And there's Joe Hasham, the Australian hero, seeing if he can validate, and an online qualifier, Jonas Buskas from Sweden.
There's 6 players at the table, and the blinds have now changed to 5 and 10,000 chips with a 1,000 chip ante. And Curly has come up with a king queen.
40.
First race to 40,000.
He'll bet 40,000. Action folds now to Joe Hasham. Pair of 9s.
I raise.
And he will raise
He says, quite demurely,
to 150,000.
I could fold if you raise, I suppose. Any chance, Andy, that I could fold this hand if you raise? So you're smart enough to answer, too. I love that about you.
some people do not appreciate being chatted to while they make a decision. But winning world championships gives you a little bit of license, especially on your home turf.
I think Curly Seal's one of those people.
Don't just call.
Still thinking.
Seal is really sweating this decision, and I don't think it's that close of a call.
Time, please.
Emmanuel, I'm going to give you 1 minute to act on your hand.
The tournament director has been called in. A clock has been put on Curly Seal. If he does not act before this time expires, his hand will be declared dead.
He's got about 45 seconds. Cool. And he does make the call. So the approval of Seal.
Well done, sir.
I'm all in.
7-10 Trey, and immediately Hasham says, I'm all in.
And now Curly Seal must fold. It's simple as that. I didn't like the call before the flop, and I would hate it if he would call anymore. He has invested far too many chips in this hand, and they go in the muck.
And a very good pot, 392,000 in that pot. And Joe Hasham will reel all of that in. And Curly Seal, not a happy guy right at the moment.
But at least he gave it to his fellow Aussie. Good day.
He did that. So play continues here. Jonas Buskas calls the blind.
What a thrill. You qualify online and you're playing against some of your heroes for a whole bunch of money.
It's impressive.
I raise.
Patrick Fletcher will raise.
Another 60.
He'll make it 60,000. Fletcher from New South Wales. And Buskas will play. 8 Trey ace on the flop.
That ace is a scare card to Fletcher, but he's going to test the waters.
He's testing it with a bet of 80,000.
Well, you know, the standard plays to fold there, but I think Buskas is playing his player, not the cards, and that ace makes it even less likely that Fletcher has an ace. Buskas might want to represent.
All in.
Like that.
I'll say. And now Fletcher.
Barry, I'm telling you, kids these days are so aggressive. It's really frightening to sit down across these kids.
Yeah, and they have absolute nerves of steel. I mean, you cannot get a read on Buskas right now, I don't believe.
I guess my jack's no good. I fold.
Buskas has a 0% chance to win, except when his opponent folds, and he shows the bluff.
One absolute superstar.
Well, the young Swede Jonas Buska steals some chips and gets some props here at the Aussie Millions. Welcome back to the Crown Casino, the home of the 2007 Aussie Millions. From your first steps inside, you'll be blown away by the opulent architecture of the Grand Lobby, awed by the sprawling atrium, and dazzled by the light and water show, found only at the Crown Tower.
The only thing that's matched the grandeur of the hotel has been the action in the poker room.
I have been wowed by that also. And here is the action with Joe Hashem and Ace Jack. 30,000.
And Joe Hashem makes it 30,000.
Have you ever commentated on poker? Like done any post-production commentating?
Yeah, no, they love me.
You'd be hilarious.
I'm feeling a little threatened here, Barry.
Yeah, really? Jack 10 suited for black, so now it's going to get serious. Fold now over to Curly Seal with a pair of sevens.
130.
And this time he doesn't take much time. Quite decisive with this raise.
So Hashem now with an ace jack.
And with a caller and a re-raiser, I think Joe Hashem must fold here. Good play.
Now black.
In the past, Andy Black has gotten into trouble with hands like this. Probably not this time.
Second isn't any good, is it? And I very nearly raised you. This could be the moment, eh?
It's been on everyone's mind.
It's been on everybody's mind. Should I give the fans what they want?
What they need.
They won't go home satisfied.
Andy Black able to calm his inner demons this time.
It's just not me when it happens. That's the thing. Who is it? You know, I keep trying to find this guy who blows up, but he's never around. You know, he just appears out of nowhere, you know. Where does he come from?
Well, Andy Black's high-profile blow-ups have occurred all around the world. Will he blow up here at the Aussie Millions? He certainly hopes not.
Yeah, my name is Andrew Black, and I'm an erstwhile poker player. Some people think I'm a complete maniac, and other people think that I'm a complete maniac.
He can be maniacal and kind of like, you buckle up your seatbelt and hope for the best.
I seem quite famous for doing a lot of very high-profile blow-ups.
Andy Black. He makes Mike Madison blow-ups look good.
I've been trying to get under that, and that's been a very painful process. Just trying to be honest with myself as to the reasons why I blow up. You know, prepare my mind so my concentration remains more consistent for the game of poker. I will do about 2 hours of meditation, an hour of Buddhist study, 40 minutes of exercise, and then another 20 minutes of reflection. That kind of combination just works for me. I've been developing it gradually over a period, but I put it into full swing for this Aussie Millions, and I came and I won the first tournament I played in. I won the Omaha, and now I've obviously gone deep in this tournament. People who know me well know that if only I could pick up a bit of consistency and avoid the blow-up, you know, it's pretty tough to play against me.
Sometimes a poker player's greatest opponent is himself. Thus far, Andy Black has been a pretty good advocate for Andy Black.
Yeah, he's been great to watch. Right now, let's go down to our outer tables. Christy Gaze is all in versus Patrick Antonius and in dominating position.
The girl went to one, so she started crying.
Her pocket tens over here's 8-7 of clubs.
Well, Antonius has a very slim chance here to draw out. She has flopped a full house. He'll need runner, 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 and it doesn't happen.
Wow, well, Christy Gazes, she doesn't have to cry. It's her party, and she's not going to cry. As Christy Gazes rakes it in, $703,000 in that pot. Meanwhile, at another table, the familiar face of Jimmy Fricke, who after tearing it up at our feature table has found some hard times. He's currently all in versus Hieronymus Vulgaris and behind with only 2 cards to come.
Looking for a 10-8 or spade, and he got the spade. But Vulgaris has out 7 or queen.
It is a 6 of diamonds.
Fricke told us that he loves playing against pros because he considers them weak and tight. Well, down here in Australia, That man has found plenty of action.
Well, let's see if this unknown from Middle America can keep it going and surprise the world. More to come from the Aussie Million. Welcome back to the Aussie Millions, presented by FullTiltPoker.net. I'm Barry Tompkins, alongside Michael Koenig. When we went to break, we saw Geralamos Voulgaris lose his place as chip leader. The new chip leader, Mark Karam.
He's up to nearly 1.5 million chips. Remember, our players started here with 20,000 per person.
And there's only 28 of them left. 533,571 is the average chip stack. And as you see, Mark Karam, almost 1.5 million chips.
That's nearly 10% of the chips in play.
At our feature table, Jonas Bushkas is the chip leader at 852,000. Andy Black not far behind him. Curly Seal at 514,000. Joe Hashem, 342,000. And down at the bottom is Patrick Fletcher, 165,000. The blinds have gone up to 6,000 and 12,000 and a 2,000 chip ante. Folds around to Joe Hashem in the small blind.
Wow.
Deuce 8 suited.
Wow. Wow, wow.
Hashem making much ado about basically nothing. He just wants to see a flop here. He'll call.
Now, Bushkas with the 8-6 suited will check in the big blind.
Battle of the blinds.
Queen 7-4.
There's my 7.
Well, if Hashem made a 7, he probably would have bet it. I think Bushkas likes his hand, and now I think he adores his hand. He has made the nuts straight.
And Hashem bets right into it, 20,000.
Bushkas has no real reason to raise here.
And he will just call. And a jack of diamonds.
Hashem took his stab, and will he fire another shell?
Yes, he does. 50,000. Now let's see if he can get any more out of Hashem.
He's got a better chance of drawing gold from a turnip.
I raise.
The theatrical sigh, followed by the raise.
And that, of course, will not fool Joe Hashem. I expect he will go away, and he does.
Quietly.
Well played by Bushkas, though.
It's a real boon to win $276,000 from the blind.
Well, Hashem loses about $100,000 on that head betting into Jonas's straight. It's really been a tough go for Joe at his hometown event. He just can't seem to put a winning streak together.
It's just been a struggle, you know, roller coaster. So close. I've never won more than one hand in a row. I've never been able to build up my chips without getting a whack straight away. I've played a lot of poker. This is just, nothing like this has happened to me. Painful. This is painful, seriously. Time to double up. I feel totally exhausted, battered and bruised and exhausted. It's been a tough 3 days. Quite an ugly card. You know, it's my hometown. And, you know, it's kind of like everybody's rooting for you. Everybody wants you to do well. Everybody's holding on to their breath more than you are. And when nothing goes right, and I shouldn't say that. That's wrong. It seems that way. Obviously it's not, otherwise I wouldn't be here. I'd bitch and whine, but overall, you know, it's great to be here, doing what I love to do. I can't expect that everything goes my way all the time. I can expect it, but I know it's not realistic.
Yay! It really doesn't matter if you're a world champion or an enthusiastic amateur. It is really hard to grind out a win in any tournament, particularly one with more than 700 entrants.
You were talking about guys like Jonas Bushkas, these online guys, young kids, and they just are not awed by playing the likes of Joe Hashem. Bushkas raises to 45,000 with Big Slick, and Andy Black has a pair of eights. And he'll call. Fold, fold. Two players to the flop, Black and Bushkas. 4, 6, 3, and 3 diamonds.
Really good flop for Bushkas. Nut flush draw. 2 overcards. But Black does have the best hand right now, Barry.
60,000 is the bet.
The Swede could semi-bluff here, or he could just call. A lot of ways for him to win this hand.
He'll take his time, and he calls.
I don't think Andy Black is thrilled to see that.
The turn is a 3. So the board pairs. Now Busquets will check.
Andy Black can take a shot here. He checks back as well.
And a deuce of spades on the river.
That's a beautiful looking board for a guy with a pair of 8s. And Busquets has basically said, I give up. I'm not going to even take a shot at winning this.
40,000 is the bet to Busquets.
The only way this kid wins this pot is to make a bold bluff. Needs to test Andy Black here.
It's almost worth it to see what I have.
Black trying to work him. Busquets, very calm. Really like his demeanor. And he throws it away.
You have to beat nothing.
I could definitely beat nothing. Give you a free card.
Well, Jonas Busquets decided not to make any crazy bluffs this time. And Andy Black rakes in a very nice-sized pot.
But I know you're capable of the insane. So you gotta respect the man who's capable of the insane.
I suppose it takes one to know one. More action for the Aussie Millions after this. Welcome back to the 2007 Aussie Millions. We'll have more poker, but first, let's see if you speak Aussie better than the world's best poker players.
Today on Down Under Dictionary, the word is Adam's Ale.
Oh, Adam's Ale?
Adam's Ale. What the does that mean?
It's a beer?
Clueless. It's a kind of beer they make from, it's actually made from kangaroo's milk. And they put kangaroo's milk in that, and it's very good.
Adam's Ale. Noun, water.
That was close.
Barrack.
Barrack? Barrack. It's a verb. Barrack. Can I get a definition of what a verb is?
Nope, never heard it.
Is that like an action word? Oh, so a barrack is an action word. So a barrack is an action.
Barrack? Isn't that something the soldiers stay in?
To root for a team or something more.
Barrack, verb, to cheer for your team in sport, to take sides in an argument.
Well, I just learned something. Let's see if I can remember all of those.
And for all these years, I thought Barrack was a golf course in Scotland.
I thought it was a movie about a guy from Kazakhstan. Curly Seal throws it away. Fletcher throws it away. Hashem throws it away. And now Jonas in the small blind with a 10-8. He'll bet. 36,000.
And there's his pal.
That's a bad sign. Yeah, pretty much. Looks like it'd probably be your pot after that.
Ace 7 for Black. Suited. He calls. 9 deuce 6 on the flop. Black still a favorite.
Neither guy connected there, which is to be expected on most flops. So in this kind of situation, the player who first shows aggression often takes down the pot.
There's your aggressor. 45,000 with just a gut shot straight draw.
I can't see Andy Black calling here, Barry. This is really a razor fold situation. And we have some intense gazing going on here.
It's funny, poker players look at each other much more deeply in the eyes than most lovers do.
That's the first emotion I've seen on the face of Busquets. And Black throws it away, and Busquets has bluffed him. Well, Busquets, you got to like his attitude at the table here. I mean, he is just unblinking in the face of some very talented players. Let's check in on play at our odder tables, and Christy Gazes, a big smile on her face. Also a big lead with kings over Jan Suhanik's pocket jacks with one card to come. It's an ace on the river, and Christy Gazes is going to double through.
And with more than 700,000 in chips, she's no longer a convenient target. She's a factor.
726,000 to be exact for Christy Gazes. Meanwhile, Ross Boatman is all in with an ace-9 offsuit, and action now has come around to Gus Hansen.
I probably shouldn't do this.
No, he definitely shouldn't.
I shouldn't do this.
Every time he says that, though, he does it, doesn't he?
Well, look at that. Hansen's the only one with a heart in his hand.
It gives me a chance.
It does give him a chance. Boatman up out of his chair.
It's very close right now, I think.
And a 9.
Great card for Boatman. Now Hansen will need a heart. Otherwise, Boatman will double through. That's it.
And Ross Boatman has doubled up. He'll have almost 300,000 in chips. Gus Hansen, meanwhile, will take a bit of a hit. He'll fall under 500,000, under the chip average. Back at our feature table, you'll see that Curly Seal is missing. He has been moved in order to balance the tables. He's currently playing out in the field. Action folding around to black.
Raise 36.
And he's going to raise to 36,000 with that King 5 offsuit. And now Michael Ishmael.
Make it 100.
Will make it 100,000 with that King 9 offsuit.
And that's a pretty bold play, but he's playing position, not the cards. And speaking of cards,
Hashem, ace queen.
This is a tough spot for Hashem. Normally, the ace queen looks great, but he's already seen a raise and a re-raise. And he folds, and you can't blame him.
So Ishmael is going to take this one down. He has been very quiet for a while.
Had to either push or fold. You call all in? There? Your hand good enough to call all in?
Yes. No.
I figured.
Lies!
A pack of lies. And the Aussie native outplays the hometown legend.
You look pretty confident.
Well, Hashem misreads there, and it may have cost him a chance to get back in this thing. More to come from the Crown and the Aussie.
The boardroom table and the poker table. The only difference between them is a layer of felt. At these tables, we go all in. We're fully leveraged. Reading risk and reward here isn't much different than reading it on a spreadsheet. We play because poker's like business, without the conference calls. The office may close at 6, but there's a game that's always open. We play at FullTiltPoker.com.
Welcome back to the 2007 Aussie Millions, presented by FullTiltPoker.net. Well, a new milestone has been set here. The first player to break the 2 million chip mark is Mark Carroll.
Fantastic position for the young pro, but he can't get complacent. It's time to put the hammer down.
And a big hand developing at another table as Gus Hansen and Ross Boatman have hooked up again. And Ross Boatman is moving all in, and he's really outclassed here.
These two seem to meet a lot in the middle of the pot. This time, Gus Hansen, prohibitive favorite with the set of 6s. Ross Boatman will need running cards to stay in the Aussie Millions.
So we come to the turn, and Ross Boatman, knowing he's in trouble, and now it is over. The turn card spelling the end for Ross Boatman. He is knocked out by Gus Hansen. Not a bad payday, though. He will earn $40,000 Australian.
That's about 32,000 U.S. currency.
And Gus, meanwhile, will add to his stack. He's now over the million chip mark, and that is bad news for the remaining 25 players. Meanwhile, back at our feature table, Joe Hashem, well behind the field right now. He has got to make a move soon. And a new player at the table, Dennis Huntley of Australia. He is a sheep farmer.
You know how these poker players have little chip protectors? Huntley uses a pot of mint jelly.
That was bad.
See what happens this time.
Meantime, Joe Hashem with an ace-4 offsuit.
I raise. The only half hands that I get is when I'm in this position.
He'll make a 35,000.
Hashem almost apologizing for his raise. It's another blind versus blind situation, and you know the right play is to raise with almost anything. Hashem has actually picked up a hand, but so has Buskas.
How much is that?
219.
Never a great feeling when you're a short stack and a guy asks you how much you got.
I raise.
And so Buskas will now, it appears, put Hashem all in.
Well, that's enough.
If he chooses to call.
Yes. And he will not.
That was an ace.
I could be in front, I'm telling you.
Believe it or not, you were in front, Joe.
Ace-3.
Ace-3? Mother.
Did he have ace-3, he said? He's naughty. But I like him.
Well, Buzka is just completely unaffected by Hashem's woofing at him.
Can't believe that I'm actually laughing. I should be crying.
Not the best of days for Hashem. And Hashem, an ace-10 offsuit, and he'll make it 35,000. Busquets goes away, so does Black.
Ooh, big hand in the small blind.
Raise.
And Ishmael will count out a raise, 80,000. Huntley will let this go away. And now Hashem with another decision to make.
45 more to make.
This is a tough decision. Ace-10 doesn't beat a lot of hands.
Is it pure regression, or do you actually have something? Yeah, I've got something.
That was vague enough.
Can't possibly have this many hands, man. Call, let's see the flop. All right, talk me into it.
So he does make the call. 45,000 more to him, and he catches on the flop.
Hashem went from being badly dominated to taking the lead here, but looks like the pre-flop raiser, Ismail, is going to continue.
160.
160,000.
And that represents all of Joe Hashem's remaining chips. The glasses have come off.
And the agony has begun.
Middle pair. No flush draw. Could his opponent have a king here? Could he have a pair of jacks? Or is he merely on some sort of draw or a pure bluff? All these options going through Joe Hashem's mind.
Trying to find something in the face of Ishmael. He's already invested 80,000.
Joe Hashem got what he was looking for on the flop. He hit his 10. Moreover, if he wants to win this tournament, 135,000, which is what he has left, isn't much to work with.
Oh, but he gives it up. So Joe Hashem, the local favorite here, really going through some tough times on this day. Hashem has been crippled. He's down to only 135,000 chips after laying down what was the better hand against Michael Ishmael. Tough day for Joe. The action was fast and furious tonight at the Aussie Millions.
One after the other. Boom, boom.
We're down to 25 players.
So sick.
From top pros.
I probably shouldn't do this.
Should I give the fans what they want?
To brash newcomers.
I'm exciting for the TV.
Can a woman win the whole thing?
The girl went to more than one, so she started crying.
Or will a hometown hero pull off a comeback for the ages?
Can't believe that I'm actually laughing. I should be crying.
For Michael Koenig, I'm Barry Tompkins.